Welcome to the age of continuous connection. Our facilitator is Marsha Williams. She has over 25 years of executive technology experience at many publicly held companies in the United States and Europe, and she currently serves on the board of several tech companies. Welcome back, Marsha.
Thanks, Gene. Great to be here.
I'm really intrigued by theme number 8, creating the business case for continuous customer connection. What are we going to talk about today? Frame this for us.
That intrigue is a good thing. During the previous themes, we dissected the continuous customer connection strategy as it was originally presented back in that HBR article. And in this final theme, we wanted to sort of wrap up with a look at how to frame the business case, moving to this connected customer model that we've now been talking about for so many themes.
And tell us about the panel that was assembled for this conversation.
Well, throughout the knowledge stream, we've had just an incredibly engaged panel. And truthfully, my hat's off to every one of them for the insights on this really interesting and evolving strategy. And I think that's where we demonstrated the power of, kind of pulling all these divergent roles and these divergent perspectives together, really take a look at something that's, coming at us all, but we don't quite understand yet. And they did a fantastic job.
I'm looking at your executive summary. It seems like this is really trying to stress that this is a philosophy and it needs to be embraced. Walk us through our findings.
You bet. At first glance, people might see continuous customer connection as a sort of single initiative with a beginning and an ending. Particularly if they read the HBR article, it sort of lends you to think that way. But the truth is, it's really a journey, and it's more of a business philosophy, as we've discovered, that should be used to evaluate the relevance of other operational initiatives, make sure that the business is moving forward what is truly a customer-centric fashion. Then in the next couple slides, we're going to drill into a few of those specific areas.
So let's get into key point number 1 here, which is the customer connectedness is more of a conduit. And I'm not sure I understand what this means. Tell us what this is.
Well, at the start of the journey, which, flashback to the last slide, we're really talking about a journey here. We really have to set the expectation that the business model of tomorrow has the customer at the center. That customer experience is going to continue to drive the business transformation into the future. And all 3 of these panelists describe what is commonly called, white space in today's vernacular. Really a metaphor for venturing into areas of new opportunity that haven't been clearly defined yet, or in this case are currently being defined by what the customers want and need versus what you may be delivering today in your normal course of business. And I think that's really what these 3 panelists are honing in on is you don't know what the game of tomorrow looks like yet, but for sure, customer voice, customer experience matters. And, if you're not trying to get out ahead of the pack, you're not going to win in this race. Curtis notes at the bottom there.
Yeah. So what's interesting in key point number 2, you sort of talk about this idea of investment in terms of a consideration. And I wasn't really sure, what does that mean in terms of investments? Are these financial investments, time investments? What does that mean?
Well, I think you have to say all of the above when you're talking about this. I mean, in order to succeed in this type of business transformation, let's say, it's imperative that a couple things are put into place. First and foremost, you probably need to have a team of really creative thinkers that can truly envision the business model of the future for your particular entity. Secondly, you need to have a robust technology backbone in place, or you're going to have difficulty enabling this continuous customer feedback loop. And what you need to remember here is that's the loop or the feedback that's going to continue evolving your organization to remain in this white space that you are journeying into, satisfying the needs of the customer that may not even be able to clearly articulate those needs today.
In key point 3, you start to get into this idea of creating value for the customer. Of course, at the end, it's the customer who decides if you have, in fact, created value for them. So how do you work out this conundrum?
Right. Well, the next 2 slides are actually focused on just that. So this one starts with, once you've set the stage, you begin to use this internally generated momentum to basically create an ongoing pool of initiatives which are measured against the improvement in that customer experience that we've been talking about, along with those more traditional measurements of, increased revenue or decreased operational costs. Really what this slide is trying to say is, here's some methods that can be used to create this ever, filling cup of initiatives and concepts to continue the business moving down this journey of customer centricity.
I really love your final point here, key point number 4, because I think this is such a critical step, is vetting it with your customer to find out if, in fact, it's going to add value in their perception. And it's so important, yet it is something that almost everybody skips, right? Vetting?
It is so true. And, I'll never forget one of the CEOs I worked with years ago said, something along the lines of, everybody falls in love with their own ideas. And yeah, that being said, you better make sure that you're vetting this in the right way. So you need to make sure the projects deliver on that enhanced customer experience that you've been looking for. And as our panelists point out, there's numerous ways to approach the vetting process, but the goal being to make sure that whatever you roll out to your broader customer base, then through a few rounds of iterations to a segment of that customer base. Obviously, those are going to be much easier and less costly when you're doing it in this subsector of your customer base compared to rolling it out to the entire customer base and going, time for version 2.0, that you now have to pay a lot more money to roll out across them.
And finally, I guess we should acknowledge our top 3 experts here on this particular theme. Tell us about these guys.
Yes, our top 3 panelists for this last theme are Curtis, who runs a consultancy group focused obviously on innovation, which makes all the sense in the world. Hitesh, who is a technologist focused on customer connection. And lastly, Autumn, who is not only a seated company director, but she's also a board member of several entities. So those 3 on this final theme, chosen by our favorite bot in the background as our top 3 experts.
Excellent. Well, gosh, really a great job, Marcia, leading this panel, leading this conversation, guiding us through the importance of this customer-centric information as well as getting it vetted. I just think you did a great job on this, so thank you.
Well, thank you. And, I think we've really had a great time engaging, and I'm speaking on behalf of the panelists. And, we've created some truly forward-thinking insights that I believe, we'll be watching play out in real time over the next year or 18 months. So, I hope that all the panelists have that same sense of pride with this great base of knowledge that they've created that we're now kind of putting out there.
You did a great job. Marcia Williams, again, over 25 years of experience as an executive technology professional at many publicly held companies in the United States and Europe, and she still serves on several boards. And even though this panel may be over, Marcia, I know we will talk again.
Looking forward to it, Gene. Thanks very much.